Hello Year 1 and happy Monday. This week I will be teaching you your maths lessons and we are going to be looking at weight and capacity. So let me share my screen with you and we can see exactly what we are up to today, because today is Monday the 22nd of February 2021. So I hope you all had a brilliant half term and you are ready to see how do brilliant mathematicians measure mass. Oh, that's a new word. Can we try that one together? My turn, your turn. Mass. Brilliant. So when we spell mass, double special friend there with our double S, mass means weight. It means how heavy or how light something is, even though it sounds a little bit like maths, like the lesson we're doing right now. So we need to stick out our tongue when we say maths lesson. And in our maths lesson, we're learning about mass. And mass means weight. So we'll have a little look at that in just a minute, but we'll warm our brains up first by playing an ordering game. And then we'll look at that word mass and discuss how we measure it. Then I'll set you some challenges to see if you can find things that are heavier or lighter. And then we'll mark our work together to finish off the lesson. So let's see what you guys are going to need today, because we are going to need to find our pencils. We're going to have our notebooks or a piece of paper ready to write down our answers. And of course, we need our maths brains today. I'd also like you to find your whiteboard pen and your whiteboard for our warm-up game. So if you need to pause the video here and go and find anything that you need, pause it now and come back when you're ready. Okay, let's get started then. So our warm-up game today is about ordering numbers. And you can see here that I've got a caterpillar and 4 bits of his body have wandered off. They're down the bottom of your screen here. We've got number 16, he's gone for a walk. Number 15, 20, and 9. And what your challenge is can you order the numbers back to the caterpillar's body? Now, if we have a look at the number that is already on his body, it's number 1. So I know that the order of the caterpillar is going from the smallest to the biggest number. So on your whiteboards, you're going to start with number 1 that's already there. But what's the next smallest number would go in this missing part of his body? And then the next one, and the next one, until you've got the biggest number right by his tail. So what I want you to do is have a little look at those numbers that have wandered off down the bottom of the screen. And on your whiteboards, can you order the numbers from the smallest to the biggest? Pause the video here and have a go at ordering those numbers. Well done, everybody. Shall we have a little look at the order of our caterpillar and see if we can get his body back in the right order? Your caterpillar should have looked like this. It started with number 1, and then the next smallest number was 9. Then we needed to move the 15 into the middle. 16 comes next, and the biggest number that had wandered off was 20. So he should have been right at the end next to the caterpillar's tail. So now you've got the idea of the game. Let's wipe our whiteboards off, and I'm going to show you another caterpillar's body. And the pieces have wandered off again. Okay, get yourself ready. Here we go again. We've got the number 9, the number 10, number 2, and the number 13. And they've all wandered off again. And again, I can tell you that we start from the smallest number and we've got to order them up to the biggest number. Okay, you know what to do. From the smallest to the biggest, can you order the caterpillar back in the right order? Pause the video and have a go. Okay, let's have a little look. Let's see how you get on with this one. We needed our caterpillar to start with number 1, and then 2 would have been moved up next. Then number 9 would have gone into the middle. The next biggest number was number 10. And the biggest number of all that had wandered off down the hill was number 13. So 13 would have gone at the end. Oh, you're getting good at this. Let's see if we can do one more to make sure our brains are really warmed up. Are you ready? Here we go again, and it's still the same order, few. So we're going from the smallest to the biggest number. This time, you've got number 9, number 11, 14, and 4. They've all wandered off down the hill, but can you put them back into the right order? Pause the video and have a go. Let's have a little look then. We needed to start with number 1, and then number 4 should have been next. So that was our next number that needed to come after number 1. Then number 9 is a little bit bigger, so that would have gone in the middle again. Then 11, and the biggest number that had wandered off was number 14. So well done, Year 1, if you had a go at ordering all of our caterpillar bodies back in the right order. You can wipe your boards clean and put your lids on your pens, but keep them close by because we're going to need them again in just a moment. So well done. Our brains are warmed up, and we're now going to have a little look at that question. How do brilliant mathematicians measure mass? And remember, mass is when we are finding out about the weight of something. So here on our screen, I have got some balance scales. And when we use balance scales, they tip from one height to another to show you which object is heavier and which object is lighter. So if I was to put a feather on one side of my balance scale and a book on the other side, because the book is heavier, the balance scales sink down, so the heavier object is closer to the ground. So the feather is lighter than the book, and the book is heavier than the feather. Those are the two words we're going to be using when we measure mass: heavier and lighter. And to get used to that balance scale, I always think of an elephant on a seesaw. Can you see him down there? And if that elephant was sharing that seesaw with a mouse, the elephant would always be on the ground because the elephant is heavier than the mouse. So the mouse would be up in the air, and because the elephant is so heavy, he would always be on the ground. So that's how I have a little think about it. Which is the heavier object? Which would be the elephant? So let's have a little look, because you might be able to tell I'm in school today. So I have found some balance scales in our maths cupboard. And you can see here that I've got two sides. I've got this side over here with the red pot, and I've got this side over here. And at the moment, the balance scale isn't higher or lower. So there's nothing inside. So that means that my balance is equal at the moment. There's nothing inside those pots, so they are level. They are the same height, they are equal. But I'm going to have a show of some things that I put in a little bit earlier. So let's have a little look at this video. I start with a paperclip. So I put the paperclip in one side, and I put a highlighter in the other. Watch what happens. Can you see how the highlighter was the heavier object because it pushed the scales down to the table? So the paperclip was lighter than the highlighter, and the highlighter was heavier than the paperclip. Let's have a look at another one. Okay, my balance scales, they're equal again, they're level because there's nothing in the pots. Let's have a look what I put in this time. A whiteboard rubber. So I put the whiteboard rubber on one side, and I've put a book in the other. Of course, the book is heavier. So you can see that the book has fallen to the table and my whiteboard rubber is high up in the air because it's lighter. The whiteboard rubber is lighter than the book. The book is heavier than the rubber. So we've got one more this time. So the balance scales are empty again. They're equal. And you're going to have a guess this time. You're going to have a guess. Do you think that I am going to have an object that is heavier or lighter? So I'm going to show you some cubes, some maths cubes. And then I'm going to show you Fergus the frog, who lives in our classroom as our cuddly mascot toy. And I want you to have a think and shout out lighter or heavier. So here we go. I start with 5 multi-link cubes. Do you think they're going to be heavier or lighter than Fergus my frog? Get ready to shout it out. Well, that's a surprise. Fergus has obviously had lots of Christmas dinner he's still trying to work off because Fergus is heavier. If you look down there, he is heavier than 5 multi-link cubes. So the cubes are lighter than Fergus the frog. So that is one way that we have been looking at measuring mass using our balance scales. Now, I hope those whiteboards and those whiteboard pens are close because here comes your turn to have another prediction. And prediction means a really good guess about what you know. Because I've got 2 questions here. I've got a question and we'll look at this one first. It says, which object is lighter? So remember, that's the one that would be up in the air on the balance scale because it's light. Do you think an apple is lighter than a house? Or do you think the house is lighter than the apple? On your whiteboards, draw a really quick picture of the object you think is lighter. Or I've got mine already on a post-it note ready to show you. Which object is lighter? Get ready to show me that quick picture in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I've drawn the apple. The apple is lighter than a brick house. So I hope you have drawn an apple too. Okay, wipe that board clean because this time we're going to be thinking about the weights of 2 more objects. This time the question's changed. Which object is heavier? So that's that one that would sink to the ground because it is so heavy. Get ready. Do you think a pumpkin is heavier than a castle? Or do you think the castle is heavier than a pumpkin? Get ready to draw it. Which object is heavier? Have a go at drawing on your whiteboard. Draw the picture of the heavier object. And get ready to show me in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Show me. I drew the castle. The castle is heavier than a pumpkin. So well done if you have drawn a castle too on your whiteboards. Now, if you've enjoyed looking at those balance scales, you might have a go at looking for some objects around your home that you could have a go at balancing. Now, don't worry if you don't have a set of balance scales. You could become the balance. You could become a human balance scale and you could get 2 objects. I've got my whiteboard pen here and I've got my water bottle. Now, how would I move my hands? They would start off in the middle. And which object do I think is heavier? I think the water bottle's heavier. It's dragging me to the ground. And my pen is lighter. So I could be a human balance scale and have a go myself. And we would love to see some of those pictures. So if you want to put your human balance scale on Tapestry or on Facebook, we would love to see what objects you found around the house that are heavier or lighter than each other. Okay, let's get started with our challenges today, because as always, we are setting you 3 challenges and you can pick which one you want to try and complete. So the green challenge today says, let's draw. And you have got to pick 2 objects. We've got a sweet, a boy, and a house. And you have got to draw a balance scale to show which object is heavier and which is lighter. If you're going to have a go at the yellow challenge, which I think lots of you will be able to do, we're asking you to count. So you have got 2 balance scales here, and you've got to count the cubes on each balance scale and find out which is the heaviest, the one that is going to be the heaviest. And if you're up for the red challenge today, we are going to see if you can reason, which means you've got to find the answer to a question and tell me why you think you are right. So can you help Tom and Meg compare 2 pieces of fruit? So you're going to work out the answer by using a special key, a clue, and then you're going to see if you can write a sentence to explain why. So let's have a look at that green challenge. If you're up for the green challenge, you need to pick 2 objects. And on your piece of paper, have a go at drawing your balance scale. And to do that, you could just draw a line going from the lightest to the heaviest object, or the other way around. And make sure that you pick either the sweet, the house, or the boy, and pick a light object to go there. So which one you think is going to be lighter, and which one is the heavier out of the 2 you've drawn. So all you need to do is draw a line in your book and pick the objects to go into the right place. If you're going to have a go at doing the green challenge, pause it here and have a go at completing it on your piece of paper or in your exercise book. If you're going on to do the yellow challenge, you've got 3 questions to have a look at here. And what you've got to do is you've got to count the cubes on each scale. So if I'm looking at question number 1, I've got to count the cubes here, because remember, the cubes are going to weigh the same. So you've got to count the cubes on this scale, count the cubes on the bottom scale, and find out which scale has the most cubes, because the most cubes means that you found the heaviest object. So once you've counted the most cubes, you then draw the heaviest object from each question. So you'll be able to tell me which object is heaviest. Is it the present or is it the orange? So if you're going to have a go at the yellow task, you can pause the video here and have a go. And if you're up for the red task, have a look at this, because we've got Meg and we've got Tom, and they're trying to find out who is correct. And they're looking at this picture here. They're looking at a peach with this big red cube, and they're looking at this apple with 4 little green cubes. And there's something up here that might give you a little clue to find out who is right. So Meg says the apple is heavier than the peach because it weighs 4 cubes. So she's thinking, well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 cubes there, and there's only 1 cube there, so the apple has to be heavier. But Tom over here is saying the apple and the peach weigh the same. They're equal. Why would he think that? Have a little look at the clue here that might help you solve that. So if you're going to have a go at writing who you think is right and why, pause the video here to have a go. Okay, well done, year 1. Now we're getting towards the end of our lesson, but as always, let's try and share some of our work together. So if you did the green challenge here, you might have done some drawings in your book that look a bit similar to mine. So I picked 2 objects. I've picked myself down here. I've drawn me as the person, and I've drawn a sweet. And I can tell you that the sweet is lighter than me. So I am heavier than the sweets. So that's why I've drawn my balance scale with me on the floor and the sweets high up in the air. And then I drew another one by picking two more objects. This time I picked the house and me. I drew the person. And this time I'm showing that the house is heavier than me. So I'm up in the sky as I'm lighter than the heavy house. So we'd love to see the drawings that you did, so don't forget to put them on tapestry to show your teachers. If you were going on to do the yellow challenge, let's have a little look at question number 1. So we had to count up the cubes first. So I've got 7 cubes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for the present. And I've got 5 cubes for the orange. So which one is the heaviest? 7 cubes for the present or 5 cubes for the orange? You should have drawn the present in your book because 7 cubes is going to be heavier than 5 cubes. Let's look at question number 2. The yo-yo is 3 cubes heavy and the pack of crayons is 5 cubes. So you've got 3 cubes for the yo-yo, 5 cubes for the crayons, which means the crayons are the heaviest. So well done if you drew the crayons. And let's have a look at the final one. We've got the train and the cuddly bumblebee. Now, the train was 8 cubes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cubes heavy. And the bee was only 3 cubes. So which is the heavier object? It would have been the train. So well done if you drew the train into your book. And if you had a go at the red challenge, you needed to spot this secret key at the top here, because Tom is the one that is correct. The apple and the peach weigh the same because the red cube is equal to 4 green cubes. Can you see it at the top there? It's giving you a secret message. The cube here is the same, is equal to the 4 green cubes. So Tom is absolutely right. They would have weighed the same. So well done if you wrote a sentence explaining that secret key at the top. Great job, everybody. And that's the end of our lesson today. So today we've learned about the word mass in our maths lessons. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow because we are going to look at that word again. But what we're going to do is we're going to start comparing objects. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day and I'll see you then. Bye, everyone.